Number 4, we must factor this. Now, the problem is, what do I do with that? The a value, the value in front of the n squared, is a 30. I've never dealt with that before. Well, we're going to do a little trick. I don't like it because I like us to run through all the possibilities, but we're going to go ahead and learn the method that I refer to as busting b. This value in front of the n squared is called your a value. This is the b value that we're going to bust into two parts. And then here is our c value. Now to start this, what you're always going to do is do the a times the c, 30 times 3, which is 90. Now, just like we used to do, we're going to sit here and break 90 down and say, hey, what multiplies together to give us 90, yet adds to give us 19? So 1 times 90 is 90, 2 times 45, 3 times 30. It has all types of things here. 4 does not go into it. 5 goes into it how many times? 18 times. Almost there. 6 times 15. Ooh, almost. Not quite. And finally, we have 9 times 10, which is what we're going to break it down to. So we're going to break it down into a 9 and a 10 because added together gives me 19. So the 19n, we've broken down into a 9n plus 10n. Okay. We can do it. It doesn't matter if you put 10 in and then the 9 in. It's all going to work out the same. We're going to see. I did it this way because I want to make sure we can do a little something that's going to come up here. So let's see what we have. I bring down this 30n squared plus the 9n plus 10n plus the 3. I did that a little rather quickly on the 3 and the 30n squared. Just sort of brought down. We just simply busted the b apart. Now, the next step is we're going to group these two in the front together. We're going to group these two in the back together. This is called factor by grouping. And we're going to look at each piece and we're going to factor out what can be factored out. So first, let's look here, 30 and 9. What's a number? The greatest common factor of 39. A number, the biggest number that can go into them is a 3. Now we got to deal with the n's. N squared n, so they have an n that can be factored out. And now I say to myself, hey, 3 times what is 30? 10. N times an n would give you the n squared. So 3n times 10n gives me the 30n squared. Perfect. 3 times what gives you the 9? A 3, and you've already factored the n out, so that's it, because 3n times 3 is 9n. Now here, this is why I sort of did it here with the 10 in there. Can anything factor out? No. So we must simply put a 1 there. That's important. You got to put a 1 there. If we don't factor anybody out, understand there's a 1 there, we're going to write it there. Now, technically you have 3n times that 10n plus 3. That's one whole thing plus this other whole thing. You only have two things there. And notice that we have a 10n plus 3 here and a 10n plus 3 here. That means that they could actually factor out. Since there's only two things, the 10n plus 3 factors out. It leaves behind the 3n plus the 1. And that's what we have. Now, you're always going to get, when we do this factor by grouping, you're going to get something there and there. They're going to be the same. You just put them right here, and then you simply put what is left here. This binomial now, 10n plus 3 times the binomial 3n plus 1, will give us that right there. And that's how we bust b to break it down into the product of two binomials.